Welcome to Soulpreneurs Media, where we explore the journeys of heart-centered leaders who are making a difference in this world. Today, I am more than thrilled to welcome a woman who I have known for years now and whose path beautifully illustrates how our outer expression can be a powerful reflection of our inner purpose. Joy Ruffen is more than just a friend. She's more than just leadership and a style coach. She's a master of helping women align their presence with their power. Her journey began at the age of 13 with a passion for tailoring, led her through the halls of New York's Fashion Institute of Technology, and took her around the world with prestigious names like Vogue Butterick. But what makes Joy's story particularly fascinating is how she's woven her fashion expertise with something deeper, a profound understanding of how style can be a catalyst for transformation. What I personally love about Joy's approach is that she sees style not just as what we wear, but as a powerful tool for expressing our authentic selves. As a leadership and style consultant, she helps women harness their divine feminine power to radiate strength, purpose, and elegance. And here's something delightful about our guest. She's known to laugh before the punchline of any joke. She once had dinner with Maya Angelou herself, and she describes herself as a technology enthusiast who's embracing the future one click at a time. Today, we're diving into a conversation about style as a soulful practice, exploring the powerful connection between our inner truth and outer expression. And I couldn't think of anyone better to guide us through this topic than Joy. So welcome, Joy.
Virginia, what a warm, loving, natural introduction. And I'm honored to be here with you because you and I are on the same path doing different things, different avenues of exploration, but the heart and soul is connected because we're change makers. And that's what I'm all about. And your description of how you described what I'm about and what I do was spot on. Honored to be here with you. What a pleasure. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, this is so good, and I'm really excited for the audience to hear about your journey and also everything that you do in this world for people's journey with outer expression and allowing that to be authentic with their inner expression. Joy, many of us have a moment when we realize that how we show up in the world is deeply connected to our soul's purpose. What do you have, like an awakening moment that was for you?
Oh my goodness. You have read between the lines. Virginia, for me, I've labeled myself lately because my work is as a leadership and a signature style specialist, a executive TV producer, podcaster, and much, much more. But the underlying core of all of that is all about personal development because they're working as a personal development strategist, supporting us women. You know what I'm all about, and you are too, because now I'm seeking out the cosmic change makers. I'm all
Mm.
about power for women that's authentic and that's real. And it shows up somewhat, it's more than on the exterior, the outside, but it emanates from within. And so what I'm about is equality and
Mm.
divine femininity. And that style word, it encompasses everything about us, head to toe, top to bottom, hair to shoes, inside out. Now, a lot of people speak to this, Virginia, but they don't really get to the core of it. I love your theme, style as a soulful practice, because it's a journey. You mentioned that word journey, one of my favorite words. Life is a journey. And we're all here to grow, to expand, and our wisdom, our knowledge, and our love to share it. So I'm here to answer any questions that you have because I love fashion and the entertainment industry and the communications industry. Yet, what I'm about is more like a movement. I'm so happy to have you aboard because we, as women, no blame. We're not here to emasculate. We have dropped the ball. Casual is
Mm.
good, and there's nothing wrong with casual. I'm casual, you're casual tonight, but we've taken it too far in many different arenas. So I'm all about the professional, entrepreneurial, corporate woman who wants to stand in her power in love and the nourishing
Mm.
compassion that she gives out to others. There's a lot going on here. And I was going on to say, because you brought me, oh, you have me excited, Virginia, because even though I'm a leadership and signature style specialist, my new tag is Minister of
Mm.
Enlightenment, Awareness, and awakenings, because it's time for us to awaken to that innate God-given power within us and to embrace it and to stop all the nonsense that we as women have been programmed, conditioned, sexualized, and all that other stuff too. Did I go on and
Amen.
on?
Amen. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's it's
As so you were have been into style for countless years.
yes, yes.
And what was it that was there a defining moment that made you say, okay, this isn't just outer work, but this is inner work too?
Yes. And Virginia, thank you for that because my beginning, there wasn't a defining moment. I went into the fashion industry because the background, and to be as succinct and brief as I can, from a Southern background, mom and dad, and all the women were seamstress and they loved fashion and that church lady Sunday thing, I mean, dressing to the nines. Well, that's gone. It's not coming back. But that instilled in me, and my momsy loved to dress, and her closet was packed full of stuff, but she could never find anything to wear. So it was natural for me to want to go into the fashion industry because I love clothes and fashion and style too. And I, like many of us, under the same umbrella, was carried away with the exterior stuff. But then after I retired and I started to travel extensively with hubby and I began to have my own awakening, I began to see how so many of us, myself included, we had been jaded a lot by the fashion industry and others too. But I don't blame because there's a lot of beauty there. But I'm seeking the beauty, the balance, and the brain to be coordinated together. So my defining moment was once I realized I saw this beautiful lady, and she really was beautiful, but her style and how she was put together, and I don't judge, but I have these great big eyes. I see, you see, we all see, but nobody speaks to it. And I'm
Mm,
saying, if only she knew how to pull herself together a wee bit more, all of that beauty that I see and feel would emanate from her. And that's when I
mm,
decided I want to support women because not every woman is ready. Not everybody wants to change and they don't want to get to know for all of the reasons. I'm not going there. I'm looking for the cosmic change makers who want to leave a legacy and want to make an imprint. Because why do we have to become super rich or powerful before we realize who we are and show the power in love? Has to be love in love because that's where the equality emanates from. I hope that makes sense.
it totally makes sense. It sounds like you're speaking to getting to the core of somebody's authentic self.
Exactly.
Yes?
Exactly. You nailed it. Exactly. And most of us, Virginia, myself included, we are brought up with the exterior parts of us. The programming conditioning, especially for women in the sexualizing, is to showcase that. And beauty emanates from within. And all of this Americanized, and I've traveled the world, and I'm not bragging, I'm sharing. I've seen beauty in every realm. And so we need to, or we're invited, as my friend would say, to wake up to our own beauty and find our own style. Don't emulate anyone else. Find what works for you and showcases you the best. And it's not your body parts. It's not the two B's and the V only. It's all of us. So finding your authentic self is what it's all about. Yes, you nailed it.
And how does one start that? How do you get started with finding your authentic self to be able to emanate that through style?
I love that question. I love that question. You know, I think it begins, I don't think, I know. I'm into Dr. Zeus now. I know, you know, we all
I love it.
that honesty is the first step. You have to be honest with yourself and you have to be able to want to change because you don't need to if you're not ready. But if you want to and you can look in that mirror and you can be honest with what you see and you want to tweak it a wee bit and you want to alter it a wee bit and you want to own your authentic power without looking over there and says her hair is better than mine. She's got blue eyes. I wish I had blue eyes. I wish my nose were thinner. Why don't I have a flat? All of that. We have to reset our programming and how we see ourselves and discover. And it's a journey. You mentioned the word journey. I say it
Mhm.
all the time. I'm a happy senior, but this didn't happen to me overnight. I did the exterior thing for a long time, and then I began to slowly discover that what's emanating from in here, and you will not embrace and embody everybody in your circle, in your group, in your community, but those who heed and know that they are change makers, they will come to you because they're ready to leave a legacy and to make a difference in the world. So it's a journey.
Yes, I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
When you're helping someone find their style, where do you start with them?
The body, this beautiful temple, this vessel, this thing we call the body. Knowing your body shape and being honest about it is where you begin. There are five major shapes, knowing which one you are and dressing accordingly. And the truth is, and it's hard for many of us as women because this hunger, this thirst, this starving for attention, and we all have it, I have it, you have it, we do. But what type of attention do you want? Because when you're
Mm,
honest with yourself, I am a true banana, a ruler, a freight train. You know what that is? No definition. The bust, the waist, the hips are pretty much the same. As much as I'd love to have an hourglass figure, I don't. So to be honest with myself, I've had to learn because I love belts, but I've had to learn how to wear belts and all the other things. Be honest with yourself. And also legs. Maybe you don't have great legs. So maybe short dresses, maybe they're not for you. It's always, you know what I say, Virginia, remember the movie? Oh, help me out here. What was it? Back to the Future? Well, we have to
yes.
go back to the basics. We got to go back to the beginning, to birth of knowing the body and loving it, no matter the shape, the size, the height, the race, all of those different elements. Learn. My aunt was a 3X. I had one of my many. I had a lot of favorite aunts, several. She was a huge woman, but her grace and her beauty, and she was a seamstress, so she knew how to dress herself. And way before pants, slacks, and trousers became popular, she wore them with sweaters thrown over her shoulders, and she'd walk into a room. It wasn't because of her height, just because she was dressed and she just looked good because it was balanced out for her body shape. And that's where we all have to begin. That's where we begin. And some women don't want that because they want to be sexy. And are you familiar with the designer Sarah Blakely? I think that's her name. She
There.
developed Spanx.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
yes.
Well, I think Coco Chanel, who really put pants, tracks, and slacks on the into the stratosphere for women, I think if she was alive now, she'd probably have a major heart attack because most of us, most of us, and it's never all, we don't know how to wear the pants, slacks, and trousers where they fit and they work
Mm.
for our body shape. So Spanx are great, leggings, jeggings, and all of that. And I have a little movement about that because we're invited to be honest with it's almost like some of us are walking around in the nude today, and that's not acceptable if you are into power, because that's why it's almost extinct now for women because that hunger and that thirst for attention, it's going in the wrong direction. Am I the only one who sees that, Virginia?
I don't think so. I think that because there's the trends are changing so fast as well. People are
Exactly.
just trying to keep up. And so they'll wear whatever the trend is versus what is actually looks good
Yes,
on their body.
absolutely. You have it. You have it. As we
So
say today, you got it.
if you could give us what are the five major body types?
Well, there are five major types, but then there are different variations. You have the apple, and I'm not going to give you definitions for them because I
Sure.
like food for thought. And I like when people do their own little research and do their own navigating. But we go one on one and do a lot of this in the workshops that I'm doing and when I work one on one. The apple, we have the pear. And if you kind of think about it and visualize, you can see what the different shapes are. And then you have I mentioned the banana, the ruler, the rectangular, it's all one and the same. You have the hourglass and you have the inverted triangular. Now, contingent upon the height, the weight, and all the other variations, can be a little bit of a difference here and there, but those are the five basic main body shapes. And knowing what you are, I mean,
Can people change based on their weight?
no, your body shape is your body shape. If I gain, which I did, I don't want to go there, some time ago, 60 pounds, 60 pounds, that's a lot of weight.
Hmm.
I still didn't have, and I'm going to be a little bit crude and gross here, but in love, I still didn't have get big luscious boobies, The weight came in my arms and my thighs and my back and everywhere, but I was still a rectangular with no definition. And I still measured my bust, my waist, and my hips pretty much within a 3 to 4 different radiation, the same ratio, rather, the same. So you can gain or lose weight, but that silhouette, that body,
Mm,
it remains the same.
got it. Got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great. If you could, do you have a story you could share about a client who has experienced a shift?
Ooh, I have a client, but I'd rather share with you my story before I had
Absolutely.
my awakening. And then I can share a client if we have the time. When I was at the famous, well-known, renowned Fashion Institute of Technology, which I loved every moment of it, every breathing moment. I could hardly wait to get up and get there every day. My first year there, one of the instructors or professors invited me to attend a dinner, a gala with her. And because of my background and my environment and my upbringing and all of that stuff, which I was embedded in me, I went out. I was so excited. I was like a little kid off to school. I went out and brought everything new. At the time, I knew nothing about colors. You gave me a wonderful compliment tonight. And this is one of my colors, but I seldom wear it for a lot of other reasons. But I went out and bought everything new. And I bought a real Santa Claus red dress and I got all the accessories and things to match. Well, when those big double doors opened and I looked in, I've really felt like a country bumpkin. I mean, this is a big exaggeration because I didn't know anything about colors, and of all the and I love red. I think most women do, but that was not my shade, my hue, my tone of red. And since then, I've learned a valuable lesson about colors. And if you want to speak to a client of mine, she said to me after we met, she said, Joy, I had no idea about color because I love color too. But what you've given me, because I have a big, wonderful package that I give out, which gives you a lot of information on color. And then I go one-on-one with you about color. She said, what a difference it's made in my life because now I'm assembling my wardrobe and putting everything together based on my color category. And there are different shades and variations, tones, tints, and hues to the colors. But I know now what my colors are. And I'm working between 3 and 5 basic colors and building. I love the word building too, and balance out my wardrobe. So, and I have to tell you, Virginia, that's probably of the women that I've worked with to date, that might be one of the leading walkaways that they go with is they've learned to master the art of color for themselves.
And do you base it on like seasonal colors or
Mhm,
how
mhm.
is that?
Yeah, there are 5 power colors too that I mentioned and I talk about, and I mentioned them briefly in the webinar. And those 5 colors are basic power colors. But the catcher, which I just explained in my description about color, you you are invited to find the right season for you and your right shade so that if it's, let's say, red, it's the right shade, hue, and tone of red for you. If it's purple, the right one for you. And all of this we put together when we do one-on-one.
How can, so let's shift a little bit to the leadership end of this.
Yeah.
How can women use style as a tool for embodying their business vision and values?
Well, I talk a lot about, because this has been my journey about emotional security, intelligence, and the awakening that you have when you begin to balance out your own emotions. We as women, our emotions overall, there are always exceptions, they rule. So once you become more confident, that's genuine and real in your leadership role, then you begin to exude a leadership style that's authentic, that's real, that's genuine, that's true to you. And when you stand there or sit there and you know that you have pulled yourself together and you're not tugging and pulling and you are beginning your journey into a leadership style that fits you. So leadership is all about being able to master the emotional stability of you and in a different way too to accept responsibility first off for yourself. You've heard that old proverb, know thyself. That's an old one, and a lot of that old stuff we're throwing it away because it's no longer useful, but that is vital. Know thyself is the first beginning seeds to what authentic leadership is all about. And I'm not talking about leadership that embodies money and power without a knowing of self. There's a lot of that out here. And that's why many of us have gone astray, because the word power, it's an aphrodisiac that's so overused. Leadership begins with knowing who you are, so that when others, and you won't embrace everybody, this was my hardest lesson. Not everybody's going to be under your umbrella. They can't, because they're still evolving. And that's a good thing. No blame. So let them be, and gather unto you the ones that want to be the cosmic change makers, want to leave a legacy, and know that their work has merit and others need their wisdom, love, and guidance.
What is it with when you put on a outfit and all of a sudden you just feel like $1,000,000? All of a sudden you feel empowered. What is that?
That's because when it's real, when it's genuine, when it's true, that buzzword 2023, authentic, you feel this universe evolves and revolves around feelings, emotions, love. So you know, it's like, Virginia, here's a great example. When you go to your closet, aren't there certain items that when you have something really special to do, and it's, you know that you want to make an impact, or you want to be impact, whatever, that this is something that when you put it on, you feel good?
Yes.
That one or two or three or five, six separate items that you have, well, you build your wardrobe around that item, variations, but that look, that style, that color, that fabric, because that's your power. And it begins with knowing and feeling that power. You know you look like $1,000,000. Nobody has to say anything to you. You know it. You want the compliments and you will receive them, but you feel it. You know it. But when you're tugging and pulling and you look at, oops, like me in the red dress, the Santa Claus red, you know when it's not right. You do.
I love, I want to bring, because you said the tugging and the pulling, and I wanted to bring that back, and I'm so glad you mentioned it again. So you mentioned earlier as well, being honest with yourself.
Yes.
In those moments, being honest with yourself, what are things that you can ask yourself when you're tugging and pulling and you know something isn't right? Like, how can we understand that we need to know I guess, like, just knowing we don't feel right is the first step. And then what do we do?
Well, you began to make your changes contingent upon that. If you went out to some affair or engagement or networking, whatever it might be, and you didn't feel comfortable and something was not right there, that's something with you. And the honesty of knowing that this is another reason, probably the best way to spearhead that into your knowing, Virginia, is that's why we all need each other.
Hmm.
You want, in love, people to share with you what you can do better, what
Hmm.
can be better for you. And you can have somebody say to you, oh, Virginia, that's a great color on you, but something, but present it to you in a way that you can receive it. Because nobody wants criticism. No one
Right.
that I know of. But if something is delivered to you in love, and it's given to you in a way that you can say, and then you give it some thought, then you can go from there. If you can't be honest with yourself. Because in point of fact, if you're out somewhere and you're pulling and tugging and this strap here is pulled and you're going like this, then that's not the right top for you for that occasion, maybe. Something like that. Or if you sit down and the dress is too short and you're pulling it down, these are telltale signs that you're not comfortable in your body.
I love it. So, what are you going to be discussing in your free webinar?
I'm going to be talking predominantly about the 5 keys, the 5 elements to a signature style. And Virginia, I'm only going to highlight it because it's different for each and every one. You know, we're going into we've always been, but now really pronounced, individuality, signature style, knowing who you are. Your style is very different from Jeannie, Betty, and Joanne over there. What's your style? It can be eclectic. Not everybody's classic. It's boring. So I'm going to talk about the body shapes very briefly, name them just as I did here tonight. And then I'm going to maybe give some examples. I'll talk about fashion preferences. I have a friend who, just as an example, it has an hourglass shape, which means that the bust and so on, tiny waist and so on. Great. I'd love to have that shape, but I don't. But I know how to improvise. So I'm going to mention something about fashion preferences for the different body shapes. And then I'm going to talk about color a little bit. I'm going to highlight briefly, and I'm not running from the deep conversation, but that's really one-on-one because it's individualized. And then I'm going to
Mm.
talk about accessories. That makes the person. I like jewelry. A lot of women can't stand jewelry. I had one customer say to me, client say to me, I don't like jewelry. Blah, blah, blah. I get it. You don't have to like what everybody else. You have to find you. That's my assignment, to support you in your discovery of what works best for you. And then I'm going to go into fabrics and shapewear. And then I have a beautiful offering for those who want to explore and go deeper. So that's it.
So excited for this.
You're
Uh,
gonna love
Tell us a little more. The date, there's a specific date and time, and then they can watch the replay if they can't make it.
Absolutely. And Virginia, I'm so glad you mentioned that because we started, the team and I, actually a little bit before the holiday season. But it's amazing how time flies. We're already up in February, and the webinar is next Tuesday, February the 11th. And it's at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm like a little kid off to school with my lollipop. I can't wait. I have a great team. They've done a great job, and I'm grateful for you giving me this opportunity. I love what I do. And you know what? I say this, I used to hesitate saying this. I love women because I
Mm.
see and feel our power. I come from a very narcissistic mother, so I had to find my way to finding me. And that's why I know we all have it within us, if we want to be change makers and leave the legacy to discover how we want to show up. So I'm
S-
excited to have you there. And
So beautiful. It's going to be amazing. And we will put the link down in the show notes and ensure that everybody has access to it. And is there anything that you would like to leave us with?
I have so much food for thought running through the noodle, the brain, because it's always boom. But what I'd like to leave you with is that you are here, no matter what category or what type of work you're doing, to make a difference and to discover and find what works for you, and whatever it is, to share it out in business, because bottom line, it's about business with others, because that's why the community is so needed. Family, relationships, community, because the saying all for one and one for all, back to we as women, that's where we're going to start the movement and make that evident, whatever generation we're in. So the food for thought is discovery, the journey, and the love of you. That's where we begin.
Beautifully said. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening in to the Soulpreneurs Media with Joy Ruffen. It's been a pleasure to have you here, and we look forward to hearing from you and for you to come to Joy's webinar, Better Style Power with Joy. Come enjoy it. You don't want to miss it because everyone could use a little more self-empowerment, a little more authenticity, and a little more style.